So, what it comes down to is we've looked at Abraham, Moses, Gideon. We've looked at the disciples when Jesus first called them, and we've looked at the disciples when Jesus had risen from the dead and was about to go back to heaven. And in each case, God calls them. And when I say God calls them, if Jesus calls them, well, God calls them. God calls them, and he gives them a challenge, and it's a very similar challenge in every case. It's basically, he says, go, you go. But he gives them the promise that he says, I will go with you. Specific tasks, but they all involve stepping out, taking a step of courage, taking a step of faith. And this gives us a pattern. We see it repeated in each of these cases, and so we can say, well, this is the way God works. Is he doing the same for us? Is he calling us? Is he calling us to do something specific? What's he calling us to do, and what is he promising? In Mark chapter 3, verses 14 and 15, Jesus and the disciples, again, it says, he appointed 12 that they might be with him and that he might send them out to preach and to have authority to drive out demons. Now he's calling people first to be with him. He calls us to come and be with him, to spend time with him. In fact, not just to spend time with him. This is a special time that we've got to spend with him. But it's not just to spend some time with him and then go away as if we've been visiting. It's to spend our lives with him. He chose the disciples to be with him, to stay with him, and he promised at the end, he promised that he would always be with them. And this really points out, it highlights the fact that when I say, what does he call us to do? That is not the most important question. The most important question is not really what is he calling us to do. It's who is he calling us to be? He's calling us to be his people, to be his children. And without that relationship with him as his children, being with him constantly, then we can't do anything for him. It isn't really about what we do for him anyway, it's about what he does for us. And as he's done it for us and we've accepted it and we've heard his call, he does it through us. So he calls us to come, and he calls us to go. Come to me. Moses, come to God. Come to see what's going on with this burning bush. And then God says, go. Disciples, come. Come with me. And then he says, go into the world. He calls us to come and be with him. And he calls us to go. Not to go away from him, but to go out into the world with him. And again, that's what we're here for. Not to spend time with him and then go away, but to spend time with him so that when we go, he goes with us and we know that he's with us. So he calls them to go, to be with him, and that he might send them out. And when we go, he is with us. He might send them out to preach. We're not all preachers in the way that you might understand the word, but by our lives we preach, by our simple conversations we preach. We are called to go out and share what we know of Jesus. And to have authority to drive out demons. Now you might say we're getting into scary, spooky territory here. But when we speak about Jesus, when people turn to him, then there are powers of evil, call them demons, And when people turn to Jesus, those powers of evil are defeated. They will resist us, but Jesus has the authority. So when we go in his name, we have nothing to fear, whether from demons, from people, from anything. When Jesus sends us out, we go with his authority, so we have nothing to fear. He calls us to come. He calls us to go. To go into the world with him and with his authority. To fish for people. To make disciples. To drive out demons. When we are with him, we've got a message to share. We've got good news to share, and we've got the authority of Jesus, the authority of God, the authority of light over darkness. We go. And when we go, God calls us to be a blessing. When he called Abraham, says this, the Lord had said to Abraham, go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. Now God says, I will bless you, and you will be a blessing. And actually, that is both a result of what God does, and it's a command. In some of the other translations, it says that I will bless you, I will make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. His purpose, he blesses us, but his purpose in blessing us is so that we can be a blessing to others. He commands us to bless others, to do good for them, to share with them what he has done for us. So God calls us and he blesses us so that we can be a blessing to others, so that we can be a blessing to the world. So he calls us to come. He calls us to go. He calls us to be a blessing, and he promises to be with us. He said it to Moses, I'll be with you. He said it to Gideon, I'll be with you. He said to Abraham, go to the land I will show you. So obviously he's going to be with him as well. He said to the disciples, best of all, I will be with you, or I am with you always, always, to the very end of the age. Doesn't come to an end. He promises to be with us. And as he is with us, he gives us more than we could ask or imagine. So to sum up, what does God call us to do? In 3 words, his call is, come with me. Come with me. So that's an invitation first to come to him, and then as he moves through the world, to go with him. His promise, I've put it in 5 words, so you could do it in less. I will walk with you. And I've deliberately included the word walk in there. You might think of the obvious perhaps is I will be with you, or I am with you, but I will walk with you. And I thought that is an important way of putting it. Perhaps it didn't need to be said because that's how the disciples, that's how all these people got around anyway. Jesus walked. It was the way you got around. He doesn't go with us like we get around today, driving around in our cars, never meeting anybody. Even if we walk down the street, we never see anybody because they're either in their houses or in their cars. And if we do see somebody, they've got their face buried in their phone. So you have to dodge around them because they haven't even seen you coming. Not like that. Walk with him. It means you're not sitting around doing nothing. You're going, but you're going slowly. His pace is walking pace. You can stop and talk to people who are also walking. Just go at his pace. Don't rush. Take your time. And he says, I will walk with you. Walking along with him beside you. And as he walks with us, he shows us the way. We will see the way, not by looking for the way, trying to work it out, but by looking to him, looking at him. He shows us the way simply by going on that way, and we have to go with him. And as we walk with him, we will see the world around us through his eyes. So Jesus says, come with me, and I will walk with you. So will you